Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked? Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. We're delighted you're here, and we broadcast 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. There's a link to all of your instructors on the website, USAPREPARES.com. Podcasts are free. If you'd like to call us, we'll pay for the call. 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. We've got a listen line, and it really works well. Actually, we have 3 listen lines, but let me give you one that really works well. 605-477-3249. 605-477-3249. 3249, and thousands of minutes a day are used on this listen line. You know, for those of you new to the class, there are over 250 of us here at USAPrepares.com, and we're dentists and farmers and physicists and broadcasters and CEOs and engineers and students rising to become instructors, and I'm delighted to introduce to you your newest instructor. His name is Richard Tworek. His company, Zaxgear, ZAXGEAR.com. Link on the website on the instructors tab, Zaxgear.com. And what are we talking about today? Clean carry energy. Energy you can take with you, charge your devices, power your cabin from the sun. Welcome, Richard Tworek.
Hey, Vince, thanks.
Richard, I probably ought to tell the story about how we met. So Howard Shayne, one of our instructors, he's a dentist, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, Vinny, you want to go to a gun show in Tulsa, and we can go there, spend a couple days, and Dr. David Pruitt, another one of our senior instructors, is going to be there. It'd be great to see him." And I said, "Boy, that'd be great. Let's go." So Howard Shayne, Dr. Shayne and I drove out to this gun show in Tulsa, and as we were walking around, we met Richard Tworek, and we started talking, and we were having a lot of fun. And he had some interesting energy products, I should say, on his display table, and we started talking about renewable energy, and we talked about his background. So he's a former U.S. Navy officer in the engineering division. He graduated as a mathematician undergrad, and he has a master's of science in nuclear engineering. So that's kind of his background, and we started talking about energy, and he's extremely knowledgeable. I thought, what a great addition to the faculty of USA Prepares. So he and I chatted on the phone, and here we are. Is that how you remember it?
Yeah, Vince, exactly. You know, and I'm honored that you want me as part of the faculty. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the renewable energy area, and especially dealing with portable energy. And but you know, Tulsa is the biggest gun show in the world. It is amazing how huge that thing is.
Mm-hmm. It was a lot of fun going, and we walked it, and we saw lots of neat technology, and so we're talking today about what do you do if you have a cabin, you know, a plan B, a go-to get out of Dodge location, and you want to have some electricity with you to run your radio, maybe to charge your walkie-talkies, maybe to charge your shortwave radio should the batteries go dead, and What about flashlights? And, what about maybe if the cabin's not too remote, there might be cell service out there for those who have cell phones. So, and LED lighting. So it might be, bring some of the comforts of home to that remote location, or just, just being on the go and being away from AC power, where you can charge those devices or power devices. So that's what this class is all about. So we're going to talk about solar power. We're going to talk about series and parallel circuits. We're going to talk about battery life and cycles. You think that, class, when you buy a battery, you have this impression that it's going to last forever. That's not the case. It's not the case, and we're going to talk about that with Richard Tworek. So, Richard, I'll tell you what, let's start with this. One of the things that you get a chance to do when you travel and you teach at your exhibits and across the country, you meet a lot of people. What are they interested in portable energy? What kinds of things do they want to use portable energy for? Let's start with that.
Well, what we see on portable energy is, either people carry a lot of batteries or they got to find a better way of recharging their equipment. And, and what we find is there's three kinds of customers that come to us, they're interested. One is just kind of your, casual battery user, hey, I want to buy something for my daughter and she keeps running out of energy and basically they buy a bigger battery and, we sell those obviously, but, those are kind of casual folks, or, hey, this is kind of cool to have a solar thing, it's green looking and I'll look good in my neighborhood, carrying this thing around. The second kind of customer we see is, I'm going to call them maybe more of a utility customer. Those are the kind of folks that really need to have energy out at their, hunting blind or, to charge a trolling motor or, they're out in the field or even on the beach. They know they need to have solar power to keep the gear running. And then the last one, which is a kind of combination between the utility guys and the folks who want to prepare for grid problems, let's just call it that, are looking at solar energy not only to keep their boat running and things like that, but a way that they can take it with them and have it portable, be able just to walk, take it out of their house or out of the back of the trunk of the car and just go out into the field and they have energy to charge their batteries, charge their GPS, like you said, shortwave radio, things like that.
Okay, and I know that as I encounter people who have cell phones, and I don't carry a cell phone with me, people who do carry them, they seem to have this constant problem of, the battery's down. And is that a function of they're not paying attention to leaving the house or wherever they were, where there was an outlet and charging it, or forgetting to bring their charger with them, or what? So I guess the problem is they're typically looking for an outlet to plug in their charger.
Exactly, Vince. I mean, it's a combination of stuff. It's really interesting talking to people and stories. Our best customers are the ones that come to us and they have less than 10% on their cell phone. So, hey, can you help? I said, sure. and all of oh yeah, and then we'll charge you the extra $20. No, I'm just kidding. We don't do that. But typically, people run back out to their truck, and plug it in and charge up. That's probably the most expensive cell phone charger there is. And what I like to term this is it's the battery paradox. Okay, and what I mean by that is these cell phones are getting smarter and smarter, bigger screens. People, are playing more sophisticated games and things like that on them. Well, they're trying to increase the battery and the battery life. And what happens is as soon as they increase battery life, people use it more for more complicated things, and therefore the battery goes down faster. So it's funny. The industry will never catch up, and that's why you need to have the opportunity to have portable energy with you so that, if you want to keep watching Netflix or you want to use GPS or you need to make that emergency phone call, there's a way of doing that.
Okay. There's another technology that I absolutely am very concerned with, and it's not something that you're offering. But there is a wireless charger. And what happens is you have a source of electricity, let's say an outlet, and you plug this transmitter into this an AC outlet, and it transmits energy over the air in a directed pattern to a receiver, which would then convert that wireless energy to charge your device, whether it be an iPad, an iPhone, an Android, whatever it might be. And I'm really concerned about that because that is higher powered energy coming through the air in around 5 gigahertz. So it's a microwave band, and that's something that I absolutely would not want to be around at all. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about with you is charging via the sun.
Yeah,
And,
but hey, Vince, but let me add to that. Imagine, people put this next to their bed, and lay their phone on top of that to charge their phones. I mean, it's kind of scary.
It is, and the marketeers are saying, well, this is great because this thing can it'll be where you are. So you just have this antenna aimed at your device, and you're with your device, and you're talking on your device, and it's transmitting in 2.4 gigahertz cell phone frequency, and then you're being charged at about 5 gigahertz, and so you're getting blasted with an extra amount of energy that could do harm, possibly cause cancer and other maladies. It's absolutely nuts. Yep. So we're not talking about that, class. I just want to share that.
No,
we're talking about using solar cells. So why don't we talk about, let's say we're going to our cabin. And there are plenty of people who listen to this broadcast who would love to have a cabin in the middle of nowhere. And of course, if you have a fully stocked cabin in the middle of nowhere, then you have a problem with how do you secure it, and how do you make sure your things aren't taken? So some people would rather have just an empty cabin that they're going to bring their things to as a bug out plan. But then what do you do about power? So how can we power a small cabin, let's say a 24 by 32 cabin, something like that, with a minimal amount of devices, let's say LED lighting? What do you recommend that we consider doing for that?
Well, let's talk about inside the cabin first. I mean, I think if you can keep the most of the appliances and the lighting and things like that at 12 volts or LED, make it as efficient as possible, then the consumption of energy is much less. And so,
okay. Now, hold that thought. We're going into one of our breaks, and we have plenty of them.
Okay, no worries.
But we'll talk about 12 volt, keeping our devices at 12 volts. So that's a great discussion. We'll be right back. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
Attention USA Prepares listeners. When you're on the road or have limited data or Wi-Fi, now you can listen to USA Prepares unfiltered and untapped at no extra charge on this non-federal phone number, 1-605-477-3249. Try it now to listen to USA Prepares 24/7 at no extra cost or data charges. These are not on federal lines. These are lines located on Indian reservations off the grid. Call 1-605-477-3249. No smartphones or internet needed. To hear USA Prepares untapped and off the grid, just call 1-605-477-3249.
You pick up the receiver with your heart racing and sweat dripping from your forehead. You finally muster the courage to dial the number to call into your favorite talk radio show. It rings once, twice, and then...
Hello, it's GCN. What's your name and the state you're calling from?
Surprised you got through, you squeak out.
Jason from Minnesota.
Please hold.
As you patiently wait for your turn, you begin to daydream about being a famous talk radio host and what it would be like to have your own show.
Jason from Minnesota, you're up.
Millions of loyal listeners worldwide waiting to call and talk to you.
Caller, are you there?
Cheering crowds surround you, calling out your name.
Jason! Going once, twice. Okay, we gotta move on to the next caller.
You blew it.
Huh? Wait, no!
Interact with the hosts you're listening to right now, online at gcnlive.com. Click on the community link. Engage with other listeners. Ask questions. Start debates. Don't agree with the host? Let them know. Be a part of the community at gcnlive.com.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
Class, we're talking about portable power, and we're talking with Richard Tworek, zaxgear.com, Z-A-X, gear, G-E-A-R.com. Link on the website and the instructors tab at usaprepares.com. So we're talking about 12-volt devices. Richard, please continue.
Yeah. Okay, Vince. Yeah, we were talking about how to outfit a cabin and kind of what power we need to have at the cabin, and it really depends on the consumption of what the power consumption you're going to have. So in other words, the more things you got sitting in the cabin that are consuming power, the more power you're going to need. So if you can keep everything at 12 volts, that's generally the more efficient way of getting things to work and the least amount of power consumption. So LED lighting, for example, there's 12-volt refrigerators you can have. If you need to have a refrigerator, there's 12-volt fans. I mean, there's all sorts of things you can buy that's in that range that make it a little bit easier. And so you were asking, how much power do we need in a cabin? Really, it's a little bit. I have customers come to me all the time and say, well, I'm going to have this cabin, how much power do I? Well, it really depends on what it is you want in your cabin. If it's just LED lighting, then you don't need a lot. If you're going to run something a little bit more, you need to charge a shortwave radio and things like that, well, you're going to need a little bit more power to carry it with you. And it's always a trade-off between weight, how much the power you want to carry versus how much power you're going to get, and so you can get things that weigh a pound, or you can get things that weigh 25 pounds. And it really just depends on how far your cabin is, how much you want to carry, and what the power consumption is going to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, the idea is to avoid the conversion, the up conversion, if you can, right? So if you could stay at 12 volts. You don't have that extra loss in the inverter, maybe another 10 or 20% loss going to heat, converting 12 volts up to, 10 times to 120 volts AC. So the idea is if you can use these LED strips, and that's what we've done. We've prototyped that in our house here in Missouri, and I've been using them for about 2 years now. And I got a call from Rosie, one of our class members, she wanted to get some more of these LED strips from us, and I've got 300 more feet coming in one little shipment. So that ought to help a lot for those who are interested. So LED strips, what we're doing is we've attached them to a 1 by 1.5 inch piece of wood that we have polyurethaned, and we point them up. We mount them around the perimeter of the room. Like in our kitchen, we have about a foot down from the ceiling. We have these boards around the perimeter, and they look okay. I mean, it's not beautiful, but they look okay. And we have these LED strips, and when we turn them on, they light up the entire kitchen. So it's not like we're in the dark, and it's way better than 10 candles, way better. And there's no smoke, and they're always available because they run on battery power. It's a great way to go. So that's one thing you could have permanently installed, and you bring your portable power with you, so that doesn't get taken from your cabin, right? I mean, no one's probably going to take your lights if they're nailed down. And when you talk about 12-volt refrigeration, you can do that. I went to Craigslist and I bought a camper, or not a mobile home, but one of those trailers you pull along with your truck. And I bought a 12-volt / propane refrigerator for $50. So you can do that too, and it's got a freezer compartment, and it has refrigeration, and it's probably about 5 feet tall. It's $50, and they're available.
Yeah, those are pretty nice too.
Mm-hmm. And it's a great Plan B. It really is. So that's why we have it. It's a Plan B, and then you do want communications, and no question about that. So let's talk about the batteries. How do these batteries store the electricity? What kind of batteries do you recommend? What voltage? And then we'll get into series and parallel circuits.
Yeah. Well, it's a loaded question on the batteries. But let me just kind of address these solar panels just for a minute. I mean, the range of solar panels that we have go from 20 watts to about 120 watts, and at 20 watts they're 1 amp, and at 120 watts they're 6 amps. Again, it all just depends on what you want to carry. And I've got a story of a gal that came to us and says, "Well, I got a cabin, and I want to run."
Hold that thought. Another commercial break. We'll be right back.
All right,
with Richard Tworek.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today. Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to goberkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. goberkey.com.
Winter has just begun, and are you already tired of being cold? How would you like to never be cold again? This is Dale with Fortress Clothing, and I'm here to tell you, you will never be cold again with Fortress. If you're tired of freezing your butt off, elk hunting, sitting in a tree stand deer hunting, winter camping, fishing, ice fishing, no longer fear the cold. If you snowmobile, ski, snowboard, get Fortress. Sledding with the kids, shoveling the walks, shopping, or if you or your spouse get cold feet at home, get Fortress. If you're stuck outside working in the cold or find yourself in an emergency situation, get our winter bug out bag and you will never be cold again. Fortress is the answer, so quit complaining and go to fortressclothing.com. It's a mid-layer garment that goes with anything you want to wear. Enter coupon code RADIO and get 20% off any item. Go now while we still have inventory. fortressclothing.com.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 Pain Hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
Class, I just took a call off the air from a gentleman. His name is Mark. And he said that he was listening to yesterday's broadcast about the Beninati family, where the neighbor called the cops, and the cops showed up, and the state police, the sheriff's deputy showed up, the state police showed up. AR-15s were aimed at our neighbor. And he heard that story, and he said that something similar happened to him. So I'm going to talk to him off the air tonight, and maybe we ought to do a broadcast about this, because several of our instructors have been arrested, and wrongfully arrested. Steve Angle, 911 call. The cops said there was a 911 call. No one from the family made it. He got beaten up at his own home, ended up in the hospital, in jail for several days. That's Steve Angle in Hays, Kansas. We've got Mike Parsons, who's in jail right now. He ran for office, and he's in jail right now. They want him out of the way because he's going to expose their corruption. And then you have the Beninati family, and there are others who have been put in. Well, you've got Bob Eastep. He was tased in his car, wrongfully tased in his car. Then he was arrested. It's unbelievable what's happening, and it's all wrong. It's all wrong. And if these guys had committed crimes, I'd be the first one to tell you, but they haven't. So we probably ought to do a special broadcast on police brutality and harming the villagers with impunity. That's what's happening. And so in that light, I will be with the Beninati family at the meetup on Monday. I will be there. I will be hosting the meetup at Jimmy's Egg, Springfield, Missouri, 4:45 to 8 p.m. on Monday. with the Beninati family, and we're gonna let them tell their story as what happened. It's absolutely terrifying. When was the last time you had a sheriff's deputy and a highway patrolman aim their AR-15s at you? And you're just a trigger pull away from being executed by the cops with impunity. How would you like that? So we're going to talk about that. Talk about what happened and the pending prison time that Jeremy Beninati is facing. Yeah, almost 20 years because his neighbor called the cops on him. Can you imagine that? So that's Monday coming up at Jimmy's Egg. And Richard Tworek, we were talking about a story about a cabin. Please continue.
Oh yeah, sure. Working a lot of these shows and things like that. You get a lot of people that walk by and ask, well, I need to have power and I need to have it for my cabin. We had a couple come to us and so say, well, how much power do I need to run a hairdryer? Guys, really? You're going to run a hairdryer in the cabin? Yeah, my wife needs her hairdryer. Those things pull 1,200 to 1,800 watts. I said, I don't think I have a solar panel big enough for you guys. Good luck with that.
Was this a joke, Richard?
No,
was this a joke?
I'm serious. I can't believe how many. I got the strangest questions come through. But that was one of the stranger ones, and you know what? It wasn't even one. I think I had two different ones over the last couple of years.
Okay, so why don't we just tackle that question right now? It's a common question, but it's kind of simple. So the more energy a device consumes, the farther away from powering that via solar you're going to be. Okay, so for example, what would they be? That would be an electric stove, an electric clothes dryer, an electric hot water heater. Okay. An electric heater.
Air conditioning is another one. Yeah.
Okay. What else? What else do we just say? Okay, it's not practical to do it.
Things like hot plates, hair dryers, big TV sets. The 52-inch. I want to run that. But there are situations where people are very concerned, like for example, CPAP machines. They want to make sure that their CPAP machine works. And I had a lot of people ask me about that. It's amazing how many of those folks come by, but they want to go in a cabin, they want to go hunting, whatever it is, and they want to make sure they carry enough energy with them to keep those batteries charged, during the day, and so that they can run their machines at night. Because they're out in the areas where there isn't any electricity, and so you have to. The size of the panel again is how much weight do you want to carry? Do you want to carry a pound or you want to carry 20 pounds? And it's just a matter of how much energy consumption you're going to have and how far away your cabin is and what do you think is reasonable to carry.
You mentioned the CPAP machine. I didn't realize how common those things are. We have we have instructors who are all over the country. And when they're traveling past our neck of the woods in Missouri, we'll get a call. Hey, we're going to be in the neighborhood on Thursday or Tuesday, and would it be okay if I stop in? Sure. And then we say, well, listen, just camp out here. Come on in. We've got room, and they say, well, you need a little privacy. Well, yeah. And they I've got a CPAP machine, and so it's not just once. It's happened a number of times that we've had instructors who come over here who have these machines, and they're a little bit embarrassed that they have them, but it's not just one time. So I think they're a lot more common than we may realize. So that is an important consideration. So how much power does a CPAP machine need? Are you aware of that? And what kind of a device would be needed to power that in a Plan B situation?
Well, in the Plan B, you're going to need about a 40 to 60 watt portable panel to do that. That will produce about 2.5 to 3 amps of power, and it's better than a trickle charger. It's almost like one of those chargers, a battery charger that you can buy for your car battery, and so that will for sure keep up. I've seen it keep up with a little bit smaller, like we have a 36 watt that actually can keep up it just depends on, again, it's a balancing equation. I don't want to get complicated with this, but it's really how much energy you're going to consume, what other devices you have running, and size your solar panel to do that. And the permanent solar panels, people come to me and say, "Oh, I'll buy one of these things that there's pick your supplier, and I can get those cheaper." I say, "Sure you can. Try carry that 30, 40, 50 pound device with you." "Oh, yeah, well that's tough." I said, "Well, yeah, you can buy it cheaper, but I tell you what, you put up on your cabin, I hope it's going to be there 6 months from now."
And that's a really, really good point. So, when it comes to going to that plan B, that television is probably not important. A shortwave radio might be important. Two-way, walkie-talkies that are like a Bofang. We use those at the farm here to communicate from, the tractor one field to the farmhouse. That might be something. A ham rig. That might be something that you'd want to be able to power. LED lighting, absolutely, so you can see in the dark. But minimum essential is what I would consider if I were buying this kind of equipment. What is the minimum that I can get by with? But a CPAP machine, that's a requirement. That's more important than lighting.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to make sure you size your panel right to keep up with a CPAP machine. So, to your point, I was surprised at these shows how many people come by and are talking about their CPAP machines and how they need them to have them at their hunting blind, a hunting lodge.
Mm-hmm.
It was surprising, but anyhow. But then you need a battery. So
and let's talk about the types of batteries and the reserve capacity and the number of cycles.
Yeah, and those things people tend not to understand quite a. So there's the batteries that you see in your cell phone and the batteries that power USB devices. So a USB device would be like a GoPro camera, your cell phone, a GPS unit. Maybe some of the walkie-talkies will run. You can charge off a USB. Those are what are called lithium-ion batteries, and there's different ways of how those things are built. So the latest technology is lithium polymer. The lithium polymer, the reason like the cell phone manufacturers like it, and we use those quite a bit ourselves in the things we sell, is because they're thinner, they're lighter, and they're good for a lot of cycles. But the challenge is you can't get a lot of voltage out of them. They're not like your car battery or a deep cycle battery. And we can talk about those here in a minute. But the lithium polymer, they're good for usually about 500 cycles. And so you think about 500 cycles, well, that doesn't sound like. Well, it's actually quite a bit. 500 cycles is, let's say you charge your phone or your this particular battery, your backup battery, once a week. So that's 50, almost 10 years if you do the math. So we tell people 5 to 7 years is how long you can expect this battery to last, using it on a normal basis. The other nice thing about a lithium polymer battery, it has a very low decay. What I mean by that is that the battery itself doesn't lose its charge as quickly as, for example, a lead-acid battery might. So you don't need to keep it constantly being charged. You can just let it drop ever so slowly. It maybe loses about 1% a month, roughly. So let's say you throw this thing in your bug-out bag. 6 months to a year later, you still have a charge in your lithium polymer battery. But make sure you charge it back up again. So the other battery is the kind of what you normally see in your cars, a lead-acid battery. They're heavier. They're generally good for about 200 to 300 cycles, and it's really important to keep track of cycles because eventually your battery does wear itself out, and you just can't keep it running forever. And a lead-acid battery really requires a lot of maintenance. We had those on the submarine. When I was on the submarine, we had our ultimate backup. I was on a nuclear sub, so we had. Obviously we had the reactor. If the reactor had a problem, we had a diesel generator. If the diesel generator had a problem, then we had a battery. Now, kind of a side story, Vince. that happened I was in the Bermuda Triangle, and all three things happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So we can talk more about lead acid batteries.
Yeah, when we come back. Richard Tworek's with us, zaxgear.com, Z-A-X-G-E-A-R, Zax, Z-A-X-G-E-A-R.com. Link on the website, usaprepares.com, on the instructors tab. We'll be right back. By now you know that usaprepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Are you looking to sell body armor? Want to make extra money selling body armor at your local gun shows? With low minimum buys and great returns, Katie Armor is the answer. Make money in your spare time. It's American-made body armor with the quickest turnaround in the industry, which means you get your product when you need it at very competitive rates. And they'll ship it to you for free. If you own a business, give them a call today at 855-488-KATIE. That's 855-488-2284. Or go to katiearmor.com. Come and take it.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help, so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Richard Tworek's with us, and Zax's Gear, ZAXGEAR.com is his company, and it's a clean carry energy company, or carry clean energy company. We're talking about portable power, and Richard, you mentioned 3 failures in the Bermuda Triangle on a nuclear submarine. Please, that sounds fascinating.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was. We were just talking about batteries, and the batteries we use in the submarine are the lead acid batteries. I mean, those are the ones that give us a deep cycle and things like that. So that's the last form of energy defense we have in a submarine. So we lost the reactor, we lost navigation, we were in the Bermuda Triangle, we lost the diesel generator, and what was left was the battery. And I'm telling you, remember we were talking about energy consumption? Imagine running an entire submarine on a battery. We had probably less than a half hour, less than 15 minutes to get everything back up and running. And I'm here today to talk to you. We got it all back up and all back running, but boy, it was tense there for a few hours.
Well, you could have a meltdown, right? If it weren't done properly.
No. We had we have enough protections on those kinds of ships that there's a lot of fail safe in there.
Well, I'm just thinking about, you've got to keep that reactor cooled, right?
That's right. And then if you think about it, all the energy is diverted to keep those pumps running.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's continue our discussion about this portable power. Why don't we talk a little bit about series and parallel circuits? We have just a couple minutes left. Sure.
So a lot of times, people come and ask me, how do I get this working? How do I connect it? So usually the best, if you want something for, just keeping your USB devices charged, you don't need anything too sophisticated. We sell a battery pack. You charge that battery pack off the solar, and then you can charge your devices however you want, day or night. The other ones are the folks who want to run a cabin and things like that we discussed. And the big question is, okay, well, how do I connect my battery? Do I connect an inverter? What do I do? Those kinds of things. And so, and the question becomes, so typically, people want to have an inverter. We talked about the inverter being, taking 12 volts and converting it to 110 AC. That's not usually the best way to do it, but people still want to do that. So you always want to have a battery between the solar panel and your inverter. You want to have a battery sitting there, okay? And usually the best one is kind of lead acid, deep cycle batteries, probably the ones that are the ones that give you the most durability. Now, the question becomes, well, how do I connect the panels? If I want to buy multiple panels, how do I connect those? Well, the panels are very sensitive to voltage, okay? So the voltage that are coming out of the panels is 20 volts, okay? And the panels run anywhere from 1 amp to 6 amps of output, okay? So you have current versus voltage, okay? And it gives you the watts. But anyhow, so what happens is folks would say, well, I'll just connect them in series, meaning that I connect positive to negative, positive to negative. And what happens if you do a series, positive to negative, is it increases the voltage and it will burn out your solar panel. That's not the way to do it. You want to connect it positive to positive, negative to negative, positive, positive, negative, negative. And it's not hard. You can find a lot of this information on the web. But that's called parallel. And in doing in parallel, what you've done is kept the voltage the same so you don't burn out the panel. And what you've done is increase the amperage. In other words, the amount of power you can generate and how much power you can now use to run your equipment inside the cabin.
So, class, when you do this, what you really need to know is how many volts your solar panels produce. That's one thing. And you need to know how many volts your battery is. And you need to make sure you know how many volts your charge controller can handle. And so before you do this, verify that you know what you're doing and do a little bit of research to make sure that you don't destroy your charge controller or your solar panels, right? Richard, would you agree with that?
Be careful. Just got to be really careful. Careful. I mean, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. Just look it up, and it's out there.
Richard Tworek, thanks so much for being with us, joining the faculty of USAPrepares.com, ZaxGear.com, ZaxGear.com. Very affordable, portable, clean energy. And I've seen it operate, and I've touched it and handled it. And I think if you're interested, give him a call. And his website's on USAPrepares.com, ZaxGear.com. We'll be right back with Linda May. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
You're fired. According to the Small Business Administration, 75% of small businesses plan to eliminate jobs or reduce workers' hours to part-time. You're fired. According to Gallup, the unemployment rate recently jumped to nearly 9%, and the underemployment rate hit a staggering 17.9%. You're fired. 1 out of 3 young adults and 1 out of 2 recent college graduates are underemployed. Hello, I'm Keith Abel, a pharmacist and a home business entrepreneur. In 2011, I became one of those statistics myself. Instead of looking for another job in corporate America, I joined Dr. Joel Wallet, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. We're creating steady incomes for ourselves and would like to show you how to do the same. If you want to supplement your current income, replace your income, so you don't have to become one of the statistics, then give me a call toll-free at 866-257-3105, 866-257-3105. You're fired. Don't wait till you hear those words. Start creating an extra income today. 866-257-3105.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pileski of the Pileski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Attention USA Prepares listeners. When you're on the road or have limited data or Wi-Fi, now you can listen to USA Prepares Unfiltered and Untapped at no extra charge on this non-federal phone number, 1-605-477-3249. Try it now to listen to USA Prepares 24/7 at no extra cost or data charges. These are not on federal lines. These are lines located on Indian reservations off the grid. Call 1-605-477-3249. No smartphones or internet needed. To hear USA Prepares Untapped and off the grid, just call 1-605-477-3249.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. This hour we're going to talk about nuclear reactors. And we're going to talk about radiation. And with us this hour is Linda May, Occupational Safety Officer. She's got experience in the nuclear industry. Welcome, Linda May.
Hi, Vincent. How are you?
Very well. It's great to hear your voice. You know, Linda, you and I have been talking about our concerns both on the air and off the air about nuclear power. And you know, on our list today is to talk about notification to the public about events, talk about 3 Mile Island, Indian Point, what happened at Fukushima, and children's health issues. But why don't we start with 3 Mile Island? Now, back in March of 1979, reactor number 2 at 3 Mile Island in Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, had an accident. And some believe it was the worst accident in U.S. commercial nuclear power history. There was, on a 7-point nuclear event scale, it was rated a 5 out of 7. And there were consequences to that. I remember being near that reactor when this accident happened, and I remember the television reports. It was okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's just steam. They're just venting steam, and the news reports just let the public know that it was okay. I mean, there was a lot of coverage, but there was never coverage that I remember seeing that said, "You guys downwind, you are getting blasted with radiation." I don't remember anything like that. Do you have any recollection, Linda May, of that particular incident with the public being notified of how serious that accident was?
As a person who worked in the nuclear industry, I have a real solid memory of TMI. It was what was considered the worst at the time, and it was the first in the U.S. Of a nuclear accident of that nature. At that time, the U.S. did not have the experience it has now. A lot of the emergency planning and warning systems that we have in place now came out as a result of 3 Mile Island and what occurred then. Notification at that point in time, and this was during the Carter administration. And I think one thing to note, and if somebody does research, they'll see pictures of President Carter visiting 3 Mile Island during the incident. Is he trained in this submarine business, so he was knowledgeable of what was going on. They did not notify the people within the 10-mile radius or give the public adequate notification. I think now the NRC and emergency response plans do require that as solid policy and procedure, but back then it was not done, and it should have been done.
Well, I remember taping up the doors, the windows, sealing off any air leaks I could find, because I flat out didn't believe that there was no radioactive releases. I didn't believe it, although the radio, the television, the newspapers, all the media that I had access to did not indicate that there was a serious event. But I do remember, learning in chemistry how dangerous radiation can be, and I wanted to make sure that we protected our family from it. And Linda, I've said this on the air, and I don't want to bore our class, but I think it does bear repeating so that those who have not heard it will hear it. Downwind from 3 Mile Island, there was a television news report in a neighborhood, and this man was in his front yard on camera, and he took out a dandelion leaf, and he held it stretched out, and it stretched from his fingertips to his shoulder. So we're talking about 3 feet long, a dandelion leaf, a common, weed that people want to get out of their lawn. So the leaf was 3 feet long. And what he was saying was there was cancer in every family. Every family in this neighborhood, downwind from 3 Mile Island, had cancer. And he blamed it on the nuclear accident from the 1979 event at 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania. So have you heard of a story like that?
He's quite correct. There are issues with cancer and that, and I think, excuse me, that's been proven again and again with Chernobyl and Fukushima having the same issues. Moving, to Chernobyl, which was a few years later. And as you said, then we warned people as the clouds from the Chernobyl accident moved across Europe and then the U.S. Remember, the public was warned on those days that the clouds move overhead. Your children are not to play outside, and grade schools were warned to not let the kids outside. I remember very specifically. And I worked in the industry saying, kids, you're not going out for the next 3 days. The clouds are moving across the U.S. from the Chernobyl accident, and they were radioactive. And at the time, my brother, who was in the military, was flying Air Force One. And I remember calling Washington and saying, don't let the kids play outside. His kids were the same age as mine. And he did not let his children outside for that reason, because the public was warned of the substantial amount of radiation that was moving through the clouds, and the weather was a concern, and the media, the national media warned. NBC, CBS, and ABC warned the public about it. So it's quite appropriate to be concerned about things. And as when we talked about Brunswick and also Indian Point, my first question, as you recall when you talked to me, was, which way is the wind blowing? Because you don't want to be in the direction where the wind's blowing when you've got a nuclear plant that's in distress.
Linda, as we look across the United States, there are about 104 nuclear reactors, and pretty much most of us are downwind from reactors. It's really hard to escape being downwind from a nuclear reactor today. And even if we're not downwind from one of our United States nuclear reactors, we are downwind from reactors, across the globe, because the way the weather moves, the radiation travels around the globe. It's as simple as that.
That's true. Very true.
So what happens in China can affect us. What happens in England can affect us. Spain, France, Japan. Well, we know that Japan can affect us. And I remember hearing people say and reading on the internet that Japan is so far away. It'll never get here. Really? It's already here. It's been here for years.
Well, the issue with Japan, and this is very important, if anyone doesn't believe in the wind blowing, when Fukushima's incident went down, a clear example of downwind issues occurred because our men on the USS Ronald Reagan were downwind in participating in the evacuation and the tsunami. And those sailors and soldiers who were on the USS Reagan and those who were flying now are suffering severe problems from the radiation exposures from Fukushima. So downwind is a very big issue, especially when Fukushima went down, and our U.S. military paid a high price due to that.
So, Linda, I'm looking at a map of the United States. It's Nuclear Emergency Tracking Center. I look at it a lot, several times during the broadcast, and throughout the day, even when I'm not on the air, I take a look at it, and I've seen RADCON 3, RADCON 4 alerts very, very often. What do you recommend that we do to protect ourselves? Do you have any thoughts on this?
I think you need to be aware of your surroundings. And if you live within the emergency response area of a nuclear power plant within a 10-mile radius and the additional 50-mile radius, listen and know what that emergency plan is for the area that the plant you're near. I'll give you an example with Brunswick. Brunswick accident a week ago, and there's scram and fire and loss of coolant to their core. The issue is the NRC and emergency plans require that you have emergency radios and sirens if you are within 10 miles of a plant. Those radios are in homes, businesses, nursing homes. Every facility has one. And they are like an emergency weather radio, except they are tuned to the plant emergency frequency so the plant can give a notification. The sirens also go off, but in winter months or bad weather months, you could be outside and may not hear a siren depending on wind and weather conditions. So, be aware of what's around you and have an emergency radio and tune in to what's going on. they have a responsibility to notify the public, and that's important.
Linda, I'm thinking about my case. As a farmer, I'm outside a lot, and I don't have a radio with me. Okay, let's say I'm on the tractor, and the sound of that roaring diesel engine. I've got earplugs, earphones on to minimize that noise. I might not hear a siren. Okay, there are people. That's just me. But there are other people who are out there mowing their lawns. They might not hear the siren if they're mowing the lawns, in lawn mowing season. There are other people who might not have the radio on. They might be in their house. They might not hear the siren. I'm very concerned about people being notified of an accident. And how long does it take for that notification to appear? Let's talk about that when we come back. By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Hello, my name is Don Wiskin from HeartDrop.com, the distributors of Extendivite, the #1 heart drop that people have been raving about for years. Every February, for the last 16 years, HeartDrop.com has had a Heart Month sale to help you stay heart healthy. For only $115 plus shipping and handling, you can get a 4-month supply of Extendivite in either liquid or capsule form to help you get started on your path to better health. Now is the time to stock up. Order what you need. Stay heart healthy all year with the #1 heart drop, Extendivite. To order your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website, heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
With us, and we're talking about nuclear events, and let's see, let me go right to this definition. I was looking up an accident, and an accident, according to Wikipedia, an accident is an undesirable, incidental, and unplanned event that could have been prevented had circumstances leading up to the accident been recognized. Okay, and then so I'm thinking about these things that we call nuclear accidents, and I would have to put them in a category of nuclear plant failure. Am I correct or not correct, Linda May? Did I lose Linda May? Linda?
I'm here.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I hear it. I'm going to back you up a minute. As a person who works in nuclear safety and nuclear industry, one of the things we do in the nuclear industry right off the bat, before you even begin operation, is we have scenarios, worst case scenarios, and the NRC comes in, and before you get your license, you war game your worst case scenario of an accident. To give you an example of a worst case scenario, and trust me, these scenarios were devised over many discussions, in various occupational whatever. What's your worst case, do you think? One of the scenarios, as I recall, back in the 80s when I was designing and doing this, was we'll have a fire, an explosion, we'll lose the grid, and oh, by the way, we'll do it in the middle of some great national event like the Super Bowl. Consequence. The very type of incident we're discussing is similar to what occurred at Brunswick. To give you an example, and that's not the worst, there was also a scenario devised similar to what went on in Fukushima. The U.S. has a policy with the NRC in it. We have all these scenarios, you game play and you role play, and you literally walk it through that the event has occurred, you are going toward a TMI event. And as the event unfolds and your plant is shutting down, you must make an emergency notification. You make that emergency notification to the NRC and to the various list of agencies, which in the example of Brunswick did, every federal alphabet agency there was. They staff their emergency center, and at the same time, it's kind of like you do with a hurricane or a tornado is coming through. You activate the emergency response radio system for the 10-mile radius, and you do a public notification. One of the things that's important in the NRC and everybody believes in, if you keep the public informed, you don't have panic. It's when you shut the public out and you literally blacken things and don't give the public information is when you have problems. Utilities find that it's best to be very upfront with the public. That way you have a good relationship. And one of the things that they, especially in the 10-mile radius, is hang on a minute, is that you get people notified, especially if you've elderly, disabled, people in various phases of whatever. Say somebody on the emergency radio in the house hears that they can go notify somebody out in the field. Hey, there's an emergency thing. We need to stand by our radio and do whatever. In today's environment, you may have cell phone alerts that may go out. The industry may be on that verge where you can literally plug into your cell phone for an NRC alert if you live within 10 miles. And that's required. People don't hear sirens, especially in the winter with things closed up. It's an NRC requirement so that the public can take appropriate action and be prepared to move to a safe place.
As you say this, I was thinking about back in the 1950s and 60s. When we were in elementary school, we were taught to duck and cover, and we had these drills if we were being attacked by the former Soviet Union during the Cold War. If there were, an atomic event, go out to the hallway or get under the desk, duck and cover. And there were even announcements on the radio and TV about what to do. I'm wondering, do we do that today? Do we have any announcements to tell people, okay, there's a cell phone app should you live near a reactor, what to do? Do we teach this anymore? I don't know. We'll talk about that. And how long does it take to begin signaling if there's a nuclear event? We'll be right back.
Removing bad taste and odor from your drinking water is easy. Removing the bad stuff you don't taste is what ProPure does best. Water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure countertop, inline, gravity, and household water filtration products. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or call 800-544-3533.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common-sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't take on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Are you still looking for that one iodine that you can really trust? A medical doctor-endorsed product that is backed by honest research and true integrative science? Then search no further. Go to NutriMedical.com for Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutriodine, proven time and time again to be the very best iodine available for you. Nutriodine is the only Tesla-activated monatomic plasma iodine in the world. It optimizes mitochondrial function and generation of new mitochondria, from totally neutralizing the venom from a desert recluse spider bite in Southern California to eliminating malaria parasites reported by medical missionaries in Central India. Dr. Bill's Nutriodine is simply the most powerful healing formula there is. Nutriodine clears the body of all known pathogens, restores it to an alkaline state, and even promotes stem cell regeneration. Order Dr. Bill's Nutriodine today at 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com.
Are you looking to sell body armor? Want to make extra money selling body armor at your local gun shows? With low minimum buys and great returns, KD Armor is the answer. Make money in your spare time. It's American-made body armor with the quickest turnaround in the industry, which means you get your product when you need it at very competitive rates. And they'll ship it to you for free. If you own a business, give them a call today at 855-488-KATIE. That's 855-488-2284. Or go to KDArmor.com. Come and take it.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Mineral Doctor. You've heard me talk about 90 for Life for years. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. You may not know this, that I've actually designed Arthrodex for animals. That's right. Your pets need 90 for Life too. Get this essential pet product by calling 877-279-9422. That's 877-279-9422. Again, 877-279-9422.
Ted Anderson telling you about Jordan Rubin's Beyond Organic Green-Fed Raw Cheddar Artesian Cheese featuring whole milk created through ancient dairy breeding, unpasteurized, untreated whole milk on the same farm the cows graze, containing natural sources of omega-3s, CLA protein, calcium, probiotics, and enzymes. I have never tasted cheese this good, and you need to try it. Contact your Longevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
That's Linda Mays with us, and I just posted Protect and Survive, a 1970s United Kingdom public infomercial on nuclear war protection. It's a YouTube video. You may want to take a look at that. It's at usaprepares.com, page number 1. Linda, when I was in elementary school, I remember lots of practices where we'd go under our desk, we'd duck and cover, we'd go out in the halls, we would sit on the floor against the hallway walls, and we would cover our heads with our hands. We'd kind of, bend over a little bit toward our head toward our knees. We would do that, and we'd practice that over and over again. And now that we have more nuclear reactors than ever before, we don't seem to teach this very much, as far as I can tell. And so my question now is, how long does it take to begin signaling a nuclear failure? How long does that process take?
When a nuclear power plant has an issue and they notify the NRC and all the agencies that we talked about before, and there was a long list of them that you'd given with the Brunswick plant, when they make that notification and they start staffing their emergency response center, they also should be initiating the emergency broadcast system. And as you know, the emergency broadcast system is most familiar with people for a tornado, hurricane, or some type of storm disaster. But it's a broadcast system that's used even for the nuclear industry. In the case of, say, Brunswick or Indian Point, when they start staffing the emergency centers at the county, state, and federal level, and there are a number of them, when they make that notification, they also have to initiate the emergency broadcast system, which means the 10-mile radius, the sirens, and the radios. It's in the public law, the NRC laws. You staff and you notify. And even if you do a notification and say, stand by, we're still in the evaluation mode, you do the notification. To give you an example, and this is kind of, but it's not in the U.S., it's Fukushima. If you notice, soon after Fukushima's disaster went down, the military base, one base in particular that I know of, my son was stationed there, they immediately, within 8 to 16 hours, started evacuating children, pregnant women, ill patients, and then they moved from there. And within 3 days, you had an evacuation of dependents and everything because of that. And this plant, or this base, was a good 100 miles from the disaster. But with the wind blowing the way it was in Japan, and the situation the way it was, the U.S. chose to do an emergency evacuation and emergency notification, even of people not living on the base who are U.S. citizens within Japan. That's an instance where the emergency system notification, they followed what the NRC says, but we did it in the case of Fukushima. Notification was done with Chernobyl, too, within the 10-mile and the 50-mile radius, although we're not sure what the government in Russia did, but that's the rule. When you notify your emergency staffing centers, you better notify the public.
Do you think that in the United States, if you care to answer this, that we are notified in time to take action, or do you think the delay in notification is too long? Not what the regulations say, but what actually happens.
Okay, what actually happens, because various plants are run by various utilities. Ameren runs one in Illinois, Commonwealth Edison runs in the Chicago area. You've got Duke Power on the East Coast. You've got nuclear industry in New York. So each utility is different. I think it depends on the politics of that utility and their safety ramifications and who's running it. In a lot of cases in the U.S., various utilities have chosen to turn their head or a blind eye to what the safety regulations are and basically try to ignore it. And I think in the case, and I'm going to be very specific, Duke Power has a news blackout. They've chosen to not tell the public what's really gone on. And their incident on Super Bowl Sunday was one of several in the past 2 years. Another example is Indian Point. Finally, the notifications reached the governor, who said, look, you've got radiation leaking, and I want to know what's going on. So it depends on the utility. Some utilities are firm and will notify people right away. And I do know, in the Midwest, we're prone to, well, we'll tell everybody, and then if it's a false alarm, we'll explain to the public. And that builds a good relationship with the public with trust. But when you've got utilities like Duke Power and the one at Indian Point, the public has the right to be outraged because they're being kept in the dark. And they want to know so they can take action. It's not that they hate each other. They just want full, transparent disclosure. If we need to leave the area because the wind's blowing the wrong way and you got a problem, tell us. And that's where the issue is. So it's not the U.S. totally ignoring the regs. It's various utilities turning their blind eye to it and saying, well, we're not going to tell anybody. We'll just ignore it.
And I have to wonder, when these decisions are made, who makes them? And let's talk about that in a second. But I have to feel that going into this decision is, well, are you kidding? Do you realize what this is going to do to our stock price? Do you realize how we're going to suffer financially as a result of what the stock market does to our stock or our bondholders or those kind of financial relationships? I have a feeling that plays a very significant role in the decision to whether to sound the alarm or not. Do you think that is true or not?
I will tell you, having been involved in those decisions and discussions, from a plant perspective, employees who are at the ground level, control room, safety officers of the plant, our attitude was notify the public, and we would be the first ones to literally, even though we lived close to the plant, we would notify our families. And I know I had a system in place that if there was a situation, I would make a call home and say to my kids, you want to take a trip to Indianapolis? Mom will be late getting home, and I'd hang up. They knew. Get in the car and drive. When the plant manager in each nuclear power plant has a plant manager, the control room and the safety officer and the plant manager get together, and they're in the middle of this scram or the fire or the shutdown. Decision is made immediately. You notify NRC. There's a red line hot phone, so to speak. Then, at the same time, your leaders within the utility are notified. There's the politics. Well, our stock prices, we've got a problem. And then you get what you call the public information officer installed. Well, do we really need to tell them? And at the same time, then you've got your local emergency response manager or disaster person for that county, who suddenly, you've notified your 10-mile people on the radio, who suddenly says, gee whiz, do I have to do this? It's Sunday and we're in the middle of Super Bowl. And usually your emergency preparedness person for your county, back in the 80s and 90s, wasn't necessarily trained. So he relied on what the people in the control room and the utility were telling us. In today's world, they're trained, except in the case, as we know, of certain utilities, where they may be a volunteer fireman who's been suddenly promoted because of politics into a position for retirement purposes of a deputy director for emergency planning for the county. And he sits there and says, well, why bother? We don't want to activate anything. But at the same time, you've got every state and federal agency all of a sudden has staffed their emergency response center to decide, what are we going to do with these evacuated people? Do we open our shelters? And how soon do we do it? We've already got the 10-mile notification, and people are piling in their cars and moving. So politics do play a role. Stock places play a role. But the people at the ground level in the control room, and I can tell you as a safety manager at a nuclear power plant, my response was, we will do the notification, and we will do it quietly and calmly and follow procedure, because we care about the safety and the health and the well-being of everyone within our community. It's the outsiders who came in, and those people who are public information officers who don't like to tell the truth. And that's a problem in today's world. People want the truth. And you don't have to scare people, but if you give them an education of what has occurred and say, we are working on it, and the public has a trust in that utility to know that those people are doing the best they can. I can tell you that the men and women, now women, back then, I know I was the only woman in charge of safety in the U.S. at a nuclear power plant. All of our people come out of the nuclear Navy. Those people are well-trained. I can tell you when an operator pulls a manual scram and he scrams a plant from 88% to 40% in 5 seconds, he's extremely good at what he does. And he knows he has the life of his community in his hands, and he's doing everything he can. I think that the emergency response system and the public utilities need to take a lesson in that and be honest with the public. And they're not doing that.
Linda, as I look at images on the internet of our nuclear reactors, you know, some of them have been operating since the 70s, the 80s, and they're aging. And a lot of these structures are made out of metal and concrete. And I'm wondering what the useful life of these things is, and how do they become, you know, once they are past their useful, safe life, if there is such a thing as a safe life, how do we disassemble these things, and then what do we do with the radioactive pieces as we take them apart? Is, in your opinion, nuclear energy safe? How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Do you have difficulty taking supplements? Are you searching for a high-quality, complete nutritional drink that your whole family will love? NutriMedical's Life Support has arrived. All of your daily nutritional requirements in one quick, delicious drink. Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support is a proprietary blend of vegan protein, activated vitamins, essential minerals, amino acids, probiotics, green tea, digestive enzymes, anti-inflammatories, cancer prevention, detoxification, and much more. Your body will high-five you for this one. Life Support is the best complete nutritious fastest meal replacement on the market. Whether you are an elite athlete, have post-operative challenges, chronic illness, elderly, or a family that just wants a quick, delicious drink, try Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support for optimized nutrition in one great tasting smoothie. Just add cold water, almond milk, fruit, or anything else you like. NutriMedical's Life Support. Try our great tasting chocolate or vanilla today. Call 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com. NutriMedical.com for the whole family.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit goberkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey guy at goberkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey guy.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
Are you still looking for that one iodine that you can really trust? A medical doctor endorsed product that is backed by honest research and true integrative science? Then search no further. Go to NutriMedical.com for Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutriodine, proven time and time again to be the very best iodine available for you. Nutriodine is the only Tesla-activated monatomic plasma iodine in the world. It optimizes mitochondrial function and generation of new mitochondria, from totally neutralizing the venom from a desert recluse spider bite in Southern California to eliminating malaria parasites reported by medical missionaries in central India. Dr. Bill's Nutriodine is simply the most powerful healing formula there is. Nutriodine clears the body of all known pathogens, restores it to an alkaline state, and even promotes stem cell regeneration. Order Dr. Bill's Nutriodine today at 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Class, very serious topic today. Linda May's with us, and my question for Linda is nuclear energy safe? And here's where I'm going with this. I'm just going to list off the top 10 nuclear catastrophes. 1999, Japan, there was a level 4 when a group of unqualified workers decided to put in more highly enriched uranium in a precipitation tank than was permitted. Okay, then there was a disaster. In 1983, there was a level 4 event in Argentina. Okay, in 1969, in Saint Laurent, France, a level 4 catastrophe. In 1961, in the experimental power station in Idaho, United States, there was an event. In 1987, there was a level 5 in Brazil. In 1979, of course, the 3 Mile accident, 3 Mile Island. They're calling it an accident. I would say, I think it was more like a failure. In 3 Mile Island. In 1957, there was one in the United Kingdom, a level 5. In 1957, there was a level 6 event in Russia. In 2011, of course, Fukushima, that was a level 7. In 1986, in Chernobyl, Ukraine, level 7. So there are 10. Just 10 events, the top 10 nuclear disasters that we know of. So my question, Linda, do you think nuclear energy is safe?
I'm going to say, based on the United States, and you mentioned Idaho. Idaho has the Department of Energy experimental nuclear station there, and then TMI. In the United States, based on all of the rules, regulations, policies, procedures, and protocols, and the safety professionals, and the training which comes out of the Nuclear Navy and operation of our nuclear submarine service, we are safer in the U.S. than the rest of the world. And that is, I believe, because we are more stringent. We do have a problem with aging facilities on what we're going to do and the regulations that address those issues. Some plants are safer than others that are aging. And that's because of the utilities' attitude towards safety. You will get some utilities that are extremely stringent about safety, and you get others who turn a blind eye. Duke Power is one of them. New York's got an issue that they're trying to, but the governor's holding their feet to the fire. You've also got California with Diablo and the people out there because of the earthquake issue. So I think that the U.S. has more stringent regulations and is safer, and the public can feel safer knowing that we've got some emergency notification. And I wanted to go back and stretch to you that literally in the event of TMI, when they declared their emergency and they had a change of shift at 6 in the morning, and then at 6:56, their day shift, which had come on at 6 a.m., declared an emergency, and they did do a 10-mile notification, but they did a 10-mile notification of, we've got a problem, we're not sure where it's going. But I will give them credit. They did do the emergency response, and they notified the emergency broadcast system that there was an issue. They just didn't tell them that they had radiation leaking. So in some aspects, the public did get notified in the 79 incident, and that's lessons learned and to be applied, I think, in Russia and Japan. The nuclear industry has a long way to go to be safe. And right now, the public in Japan has big issues.
Wow, out of time again. So what we need to do as class, in my opinion, is to find out where the nuclear reactors are that are near us. Okay. And Linda, do you have a suggestion for how to find out where these reactor sites are? NRC.gov?
I would say NRC.gov is your best site for everything nuclear.
Okay. And NRC.gov, I'm looking at it right now. I'll put a link on the website right after this broadcast is over. Class, I want to thank you for being with us. Linda, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and information and waking us up to what could happen, what did happen, and we need to prepare for it. By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.